In 1820, a crowd gathered outside a New Jersey courthouse to watch a man named Robert Gibbon Johnson die. His method of suicide? He was going to bite into a basket of fresh tomatoes. Doctors in the crowd were certain the juices would turn his blood to acid. He chewed, swallowed, and survived. Today, a stunt like that sounds absurd because the tomato has become the most consumed fruit on Earth. This chart shows how far ahead tomatoes have pulled from everyday staples like apples and bananas. Global demand now supports an industry worth well over $200 billion annually. Yet, for 3 full centuries, European and American societies believed this fruit was a deadly poison. People grew it as decoration, refusing to take even a single bite for fear of death. Tracing this panic backward shows how the scientific establishment falsely convicted an innocent ingredient of murder, while ignoring the evidence pointing to the real killer. The tomato originally grew wild in the Andes Mountains as a tiny, bitter berry. By the 1400s, the Aztecs had domesticated it into a plump staple, selling massive quantities in the open-air markets of present-day Mexico. Spanish conquistadors brought the seeds back to Europe, where early botanists studied the plant and immediately recognized a sinister family resemblance. The tomato belongs to the Solanaceae family. Botanists studied the tomato's leaf shapes and flower structures and matched them to notorious European killers like deadly nightshade and mandrake. These related nightshade plants were infamous. Herbalists used them to create poisons, and local folklore heavily associated them with hallucinogenic rituals and witchcraft. Because of this dark botanical connection, Northern European scientists dubbed the tomato the wolf peach. Grouping the plant strictly by its botanical cousins doomed its reputation. Before the general public even had a chance to taste a tomato, the medical guides of the era had already published widespread warnings against it. The scientific fear seemed justified because wealthy European nobles were actually getting violently ill and sometimes dying shortly after eating tomatoes at dinner. But the tomato was innocent. The true culprit was the specific dining hardware used by the aristocracy, the pewter plate. As this graphic shows, when the highly acidic juice of a tomato sat on the era's metal plates, it broke down the alloy. Pewter in the 1500s contained a significant amount of lead. The acid leached that lead directly into the food. Meanwhile, working-class farmers across southern Europe, much like these crowds in Naples, ate tomatoes for decades without problems. Because they used wooden or clay bowls, the fatal chemical reaction never occurred. But the wealthy victims were the ones with the influence. They consulted physicians and wrote the medical journals. Their deaths became the unquestioned scientific proof that tomatoes were lethal. Acceptance in America was a slow shift, driven by mass preservation. During the Civil War, Union soldiers received canned tomatoes as part of their field rations. They ate the fruit, survived, and brought a taste for it back home after the war. As the tomato gained traction, companies began bottling it as ketchup. But early commercial ketchup spoiled quickly, leading manufacturers to use dangerous preservatives, including coal tar, just to keep it on the shelves. A businessman named Henry John Heinz solved the safety crisis by using ripe, fresh tomatoes and natural vinegar, eliminating the need for chemical additives. He marketed his ketchup as pure, giving consumers a product they could trust. By 1893, the tomato was so commercially valuable that the US government took an importer to the Supreme Court. The court legally redefined the botanical fruit as a vegetable, strictly so they could enforce a 10% import tax. Mass industrial canning, bottles of pure ketchup, and a Supreme Court ruling scrubbed the tomato of its poisonous identity, repackaging it as a safe, taxable American commodity. The global takeover accelerated when Italian immigrants brought tomato-based dishes, like Neapolitan pizza, to America. Legend states the margherita pizza was created to honor the Italian queen, using red tomato, white mozzarella, and green basil to match the national flag. To meet the new global demand, farming evolved into a staggering industrial operation. Today, machines in California's Central Valley harvest hundreds of thousands of tons of tomatoes every year to feed the demand for canned sauces and ketchup. Globalization has since integrated the tomato into nearly every major world cuisine, from Indian curries to Middle Eastern shakshuka and Mexican salsa. The tomato survived 300 years of elite scientific panic. It didn't win through academic studies or PR campaigns, but because everyday working people trusted their own experience and kept cooking it until the fear looked ridiculous.